All right, so I found another window later in the day. As you can see here, I took another trade and I added a little bit of green to this day. So my new result is this right here, two trades. Net P&L is now 56.36 for a net ROE of 2.28%. So I've got the chart, the 1 minute chart lined up anyway to where what I was looking at, what I found. And I really like the volume spikes that I saw. I like the price action at the time. And I especially like the tight risk that this chart was offering me. So my plan on this one was to get in above 960 with a stop below 945. So really tight stop, great setup on a little bit of a flag there. And then on the very next candle, we got the volume ramp that I wanted, and I took my first entry at 962. Now, I gotta say, I really hesitated here. I wanted to take 100 shares or maybe a little bit more on this, and I decided to play it pretty passively, and I only started with 50. So this definitely reduced the size of the trade and the potential that I could make off it if it were to run as far as I wanted it to. Now, in this case, it was pretty much an anticipation of the break of the high of day, which at that time was at 985. And of course, right after 985, there's the key psychological resistance level of $10. So my plan on this was to scalp the break of $10 and sell most of my position on the other side. And then following a pullback from there, I was going to try and hold as long as I could. The other half, I was going to try and hold possibly into the 1050 area and maybe even a little bit higher. Now, in terms of plans to add on, I really hesitated on this right about here at 152, I guess, on this candle, where there was a bottoming tail that looked really strong. It looked like this is going to be the pullback that sends it really high up, and that this is probably the spot where I should add. However, I had a bit of a battle with myself. I couldn't decide how much to add. I thought that logically the only way that I could take it right here, so close to my initial entry, would be to double the position, so take another 50 shares. And I couldn't agree with that idea fast enough, and so I ended up delaying until the next resistance level. So where I did decide to add was the anticipation of a high of day break, because by that point, you can see on the 1 minute chart, the volume had really exploded. And so I figured that it was almost guaranteed that we were at least going to tap $10 and test that area. And so I figured a worst case scenario would be that I stop out somewhere in the green, because I was trailing my stop up as this move got stronger. Now, coming off that rip up to $10, I did decide to take a piece off just below 98, because there was a huge surge up to 98 and then there was a stall due to a hidden seller. And so I just hit Control C or Control D rather, which is my sell half on the ask button. And I got a really good fill because the top of the candle was 98 and I got filled in between 97 and 98. So I was perfectly okay with that, even though it was a pretty close to the vest type of sell. I did think it was okay to do it because I thought the pullback from $10, if that was like the top of that initial move, I thought the pullback would be pretty substantial. So I felt okay taking a bit of profit right there. Now, it turns out the pullback only went down to 989, so looking back, like I could have held through it. And then my second exit was a similar situation. Like I said initially, I thought because my position size was so small, I figured it doesn't make sense for me to stop out quickly on this second half. Before, at that point, I think I was using 990 as my stop for the rest. And long story short, there was a hidden seller at 1020 and it was pretty heavy. I think there were like close to 200,000 shares that went through at that time that were hidden just below 1020. And so I decided to just play it safe and take the profit that I had at that time, because I figured that if anything, it was going to set up again and that I could just get back in and use my cushion to take maybe a bigger position on the next move. Now, following that exit here, just below 1020, you can see there's a period of consolidation, and I was really eyeballing this, looking to risk from $10 and take a position at high of day, which was above 1021. And, the pullback happened pretty well, and then here we got this little bit of volume surge, ran into a bit of a stack seller at 25, and broke through it, okay, and for a moment right here, where you can see a huge wash, a rug pull that took place from, I guess, 1037 to 984. That happened very quickly, and it snapped back up very quickly. And I was temporarily happy that I didn't get in on that break of 1020, because I probably would have stopped out on this drop right here. And then again, right here on the second break of 1020, I was pretty much thinking the same setup. And I hesitated on it. I decided that I might be over trading at this point if I get back in this. and that if I wanted to hold and get involved in this move, then I should have held my half position from the trade that I just described. And I didn't do that, right? I was all the way back out of this trade, so I didn't want to enter fresh at this point. And unfortunately, this resolved, I mean, super well. If you look here, I even, up here around 11:15, there was another spot that I thought maybe I could scalp this, and I decided against all those plans. I didn't want to get involved, being really active. I'm technically like still not done the day that I still have, ahead of me here, so I really didn't want to get involved heavily, and I feel like this result is fine. It basically adds to everything I was thinking in the first recap, in that, I didn't really get aggressive on these trades, but I'm okay with the result. So here's an updated view of my trade log with the now 2 trades from today highlighted there at the bottom. And I guess I'll use this opportunity to also open up my entry and exit calculator and give an example of me using that, because I think this is the first, or one of the first times anyway, that I've had 2 entries, 2 exits. So here's a look at that. These are my entries and exits, and this is what gets produced, and this is how I get the information that I put into my trade log right here. So anyway, I'm pretty sure that's it for today for sure this time. I don't think I'm going to be trading. I got another meeting at 3:30, so I'm pretty much done here no matter what happens. And, hopefully continuing the clean streak, getting some good trades and getting a bit back to form, and hoping to continue that trend throughout the week.